What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar, and we're going to be breaking down the E-mini futures contract once again. Today, I didn't do a whole lot. Once again, I just kind of sat back and watched this market. I had no real interest in playing this rotation. That's all it was today. It was a pretty choppy and rotational day, and there was opportunities to take trades, but I just did not take any. Before we get into it, just make sure you guys please leave a like down below if you're enjoying the content. Leave a comment if there's anything that I could do better for you guys. So we're going to start off with looking at our 30-minute time frame. Looking at the profile here, going to look at what occurred today, trading opportunities that you could have had you been looking for them and patiently waiting for these opportunities to present themselves to you, and kind of give you guys the rundown on the larger picture and how we're shaping up closing out the first week of May, which is very interesting how we're closing it out. Good opportunity for an outside month down, and I believe an outside week down as well. So strap in, because May could be really, really, really interesting come the rest of the month. English, goodness, spit it out. You'll have to bear with me. My brain is mush. I went to the gym today and it was leg day, and I'm kind of Anyway, let's get right into it. So today we opened up with a gap below the previous day's low, as well as a gap below our balance low. All right. So we opened with a gap. Second time we've opened with a gap. We opened with a gap here on this day, gapped, and then drove straight down. Same thing today. We opened with a gap and drove straight down. Now, it wasn't nearly as strong as this day here, where we had a double distribution day, had single prints, and sold off pretty good. Today was a little bit different as we approached more of a visual area, as it was last month's low and the previous week's low that we approached, as well as our 50-day moving average on the S&P 500 E-minis, right? So there was a lot of confluence down here around the 60 level, a lot of interest for buyers to kind of step in and potentially hold this market up. I believe that is why we had such a large and wide point of control today. We ended today with a 11 wide point of control. Let me go ahead and bring up these destinations for you guys. So we did end up with an 11 wide point of control, which is 11 time frames out of the 13 time frames traded back and forth between this 40, 81, 25 level. So buyers and sellers were happy in this area doing volume. But as you can see, price probe from the previous day was accepted, right? Usually when you have a price probe, you want to see acceptance below that. We got that pretty good today by taking out the previous day's lows, opening with a gap, and driving straight down. We attempted to go trend early on in C period, could not hold it, as we did approach these lows down here, as well as our monthly balance, or not our monthly balance low, but our monthly low from last month, as it was a very tight range. And I'll show you that on the larger picture. One thing that kind of helped this market out, and I'll show you on this profile here, is once we took out the overnight low. So A period opened up below the previous day's low, and you can see all of this right here in purple, right? That was the overnight session. So A period pushed up, couldn't fill the gap, and then began to roll over. Once A period took out the previous day, once A period took out the overnight low, we attempted to go trend in B period, and you can see that by an attempt of single prints, but C period finally rotated back in, filled them, and then we kind of just got this choppy day. We had some pretty extreme rotations between D period, H period, and an F period. Some rather extreme rotations, but presented opportunities for us to take trades. You could have taken trades in A period. Once we got the overnight low, right? Once we got this overnight low right here, once you took that area out at 74, you could have been shorting anywhere below 74 and been making money, right? As B period pushed up, as B period opened up and pushed down, once we took out A's low, you began one time framing down. So sellers had things in their corner. They had the open, they had value lower, they had the gap, and we now began one time framing down. So early on, you could have been taking shorts on pushes up. Same thing in C period. Once we filled the gap, or not the gap, but once we filled the set of single prints, you could have taken a short initially and got a couple of points. And then you could have taken a short against B's high to protect the one time framing down, because C initially did get the initial balance low. For those of you that do not know what the initial balance is the first two time frames, high and low. So A and B periods, high and low, whichever side you take out, usually you'll get a directional move in that direction. But today, because of the area that we traded into with the 50, the previous monthly low, all that jazz caused buyers to kind of step in and shorts to kind of cover in those areas. But you could have taken shorts in C period against B's high and gotten paid. You could have taken shorts in D period against C's high and B's high initially and gotten paid. And then once they popped B and C's high, stopped the one time framing down, you could have looked to take a short against the open. However, you might have been better off just waiting to see what the next trade was. And the next trade was a fade in F period. Because we could not go trend in C period and we set a new low on the day, you could have faded that low, as well as we had a wide point of control at that point in time up here around the 40, 80 area, right? We had a wide point of control to rotate back into had we after we had set new lows, right? So F period opened up, pushed to the low. You could have bought the extreme here against that 61.25 level. Could have bought the extreme and had your risk reward. You buy 63, 64, you use 61.25 as your out, 60 as your out, and you're looking to rotate back up into the 80 to 78 area, right? So you could have gained about 18 points while risking only 3 to 4 points on the downside. So great rotational trade right there. Good mean reversion, right? That's the type of trade that profile kind of presents. And then in H period, you could have taken a short against the high of day and the open using the high date as your out, right? As H popped up above D's high, ran some stops. You could have initially got in at 95 and then used A's high at 98 as your out. Only 3 points that you're risking to rotate back down into point of control, which at the time was around 78. So risking 3 points to once again gain about 20, right? Same thing in I period. On a push up, you could have taken a short against the open, against H's high and the previous day's high, or against the high and the initial balance high here in A period. So you take a short 95 once again, re-enter that short, and you look for the rotation back down. You use your high of A as your out, because if you got above A's high, you'll most likely look to rotate back into the 4100 level. But it was a good trade to short there instead of buy to fill the gap, right? That's what happened. Is a lot of buyers kind of stepped in thinking we would fill the gap, but they just got absolutely smoked and slapped in the face. And once we started to come in, they took off their positions. I period rotated in, J pushed lower, and you could have gotten significantly more out of that trade. But if I would have taken that trade, I would have only looked to rotate back down into point of control, which, like I said, was around the 80 area. So you're taking 95, you're getting out 80, 15 points, right? So there were opportunities to take trades in this market. Not the type of trading day that I like, which is, trend day down, and I need to do better about trading these rotational choppy days, but my patience just isn't there to wait for the trade like an F period, to wait for the trade like an I, an H and an I period. Those are the trades that you can take, but I'm just not a very patient person. But if you are, you can take those types of trades. So yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and mark the destinations. Let's go ahead and mark destinations. So now the 4105 previous day's low now becomes an upside destination. So I'm gonna mark that as red because it now becomes resistance, and I'm gonna put gap fill. So gap will fill here now. Gap fill. All right. And then we have today's high. If I could click. Today's high was 98.25. So we'll try to get that. Boom. 98.25 was the day's high. And then after I mark these destinations, we'll go over the larger picture. If you guys will stick around for that. Try to make this video rather quick if I can. Also, may the 4th be with you. I know, corny. Corny. All right, and then we have the day's low down here at 62.25. 62.25. Low of day. That's going to bug me. All right. So, tomorrow, if we open below today's low, we will continue to one time frame down on our daily and look to take out that low of 61.25, which is a very visual area. Below that, you have the set of single prints, very small, 52.75 to 52.25, and then that 9Y point of control at 44.25. That, of course, would require us to get below the 50-day moving average, and I'll show you that on the bigger picture here in just a second. If we open up above our 11Y point of control and can't take out the day's high and fill this gap, then you'll look to rotate down into the 11Y point of control. Same thing for the downside. If we open up below it and cannot take out the day's low, then you'll look to rotate back up into that 40.81.25 area as it was a magnet. But if we do take out the day's high and push up into this 41.05 area, expect some pretty heavy resistance there, as it is a very visual area with the 4100 level right there. So above that, 41.05, you got 41.15 price probe, 41.18 where single prints start, 41.30.75 with the single prints fill, and then a 10Y point of control up here at 41.42.25. The market would really have to start to rally to get to that point. Now, let's go ahead and look at the larger time frame here. We're going to start with our monthly. Monthly. Looking for an outside month down potential as we've taken out last month's high and last month's low. This 4,200 level is no joke. I've been telling you guys since 2 months ago, pushing up into this, that we were going to have an issue in this area. And so far, we're finding that right now. Could this be a failure at a previous monthly balance or at a monthly balance high, right? Could this be an indication of a failure? Early on, right now, only 4 days into the month, it is looking like it, as we've taken out the high and the low of the previous month. Previous month's low was 68.75. We got down to 62.25. So we took it out by about 6 points, but potential for an outside month down. There's a lot of trading days left in this month, so we'll see how we close it out. If we can, rebound, take back the monthly, and it's also a good possibility for an outside month up and then break out a balance to the upside, right? So that is also an opportunity, right? So that is on the table. Got to keep that in mind. A lot in play from a monthly standpoint. Now let's go into our weekly. Weekly, same concept, right? We're rejecting that 4,200 area. Let's pull up our weekly balance. Like I said, right now, we're stretching either side of the balance because basically all of last week's range was the balance, or the previous week's range was the balance, right? We took out our balance high at 41.94.75 to attempt to one time frame up again, but we rejected and it came back in, right? You want to see continuation to the upside. So far, it looks like we're just stretching the balance high if we do not make a new high on the week, which is unlikely as we are near the lows, and that is a large run to the upside we'd have to make. However, same thing for the downside. 68.75 was our balance low, and right now we are stretching it. Do we take it out and start one time framing down with a potential of an outside week down? There's a good chance. Right now, sellers are in control in the smaller time frames, such as the daily. Now, let's go ahead and review the daily. Daily. Let's bring up its balance. We are now one time framing down. We've broken out of that daily balance low, and you can see that here on today's candle right here. We've now taken out that daily balance low, but we've back tested the 50-day moving average right there at 60. So far, we got near it and we started to reject it. Now, do we get through it and find acceptance below it to backfill this gap here where we have some poor structure and then get down to the 200-day moving average before making a run back up? Or tomorrow, do we come back into a balance by taking out today's high? Today's range was not very large, so it's a good possibility we could take out today's high and put ourselves back into a balance. But right now, the daily is one time framing down, one day right after we've taken out this daily low and our balance low. So the next destination on the downside is below the 50, that gap right there. So ladies and gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Hopefully your trading went well. If it did, let me know in the comments below. Even if your day just went well, let me know down in the comments how it went. Hope you all have a great day. Catch you later. See ya.